What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of RGTP. Our break is over. I am back in the studio, and I will not do that again. I'm totally
Yeah, you
lying.
will.
I'm going to do
Yeah,
it
you will.
again at some point. But nonetheless, we are back because last week we did not get to talk any lovely wrestling on Friday. We didn't get to hype up Death Before Dishonor, which we are going to recap today because this guy went live and it was absolutely spectacular. But before we get into all that stuff, of course, it is not a wrestling segment. And it is not, we didn't get ready for WWE pay-per-views if we are not here with our man all the way from Baltimore, Mr. Matt. Matt, how are we doing today, my guy? It has been a while.
It's been a few weeks, man. How's it going, Mamba and Lewis? I missed you boys.
Ready to talk wrestling.
Absolutely,
It is
absolutely.
going. Exactly. Yep. No, I hear it.
I know that you normally let me hype up some things. I just wanted to be you guys are actually the first show I've announced it on to where I write for this website called StadiumRant.com. It's a sports website, and they just tabbed me and my really good friend Josh Merrill to be the co-host of Flock the North podcast starting next week. So we will be doing all football content on that podcast, and I'll still keep my bearded wholesome and all things Baltimore for one-on-one interviews. But all my football content will be over there starting the first week of August. I am pumped. Thank you to Dan Portillo and the boys over at Stadium Rant for giving me the opportunity to kind of spread my wings a little bit on the
I see what
content.
you did there.
Yeah,
Ravens
like
fan.
that.
Wings,
Like
huh?
yeah.
Okay.
I appreciate you letting me. I know I kind of plugged myself, and I apologize, but I know
That's all good.
That's what you normally do anyway. So
it was going that way. So congratulations to Matt. Good job, man.
You,
Can't wait to check out all of that. Of course, we'll have Matt on as the season gets underway. We got training camps. Of course, our Wednesday show, we're going to be diving into training camp. We're going to talk about some of the head coaches under pressure. We talked about some of the quarterbacks a few weeks ago. So Wednesday show should be absolutely amazing. But it's Friday. We are here. It is time to talk some wrestling, and there's been a lot to cover since we have last been on the show. Like I had mentioned before, Death Before Dishonor was last Saturday, which was the biggest event that we could not talk about, but it was pretty damn amazing. I enjoyed it quite a bit being there live. So, Mamba, I'll start with you. Thoughts on the pay-per-view and ROH coming back as a whole before we break down some of the matches?
Every match was fun to watch. When I was watching, no one was in my house, so I was as loud as I possibly could be. I know my neighbors hated me, but they'll get over it, right? Every match, I found myself pretty much at the edge of my bed, Some of the results had me. I might have been jumping on my bed, but it was great.
Hey, I hear it. Matt, how did you think about the pay-per-view as a whole and ROH coming back? As a wrestling fan, I know that had to be that had to feel pretty good.
It did feel good, and the thing is, I normally never take a pass at criticizing Tony Khan's company. It was very well done. I questioned why they put the heavyweight title match on first. That was my only issue.
A coin toss.
But at the end of the day, if they can continue to make Ring of Honor feel like a separate company and really put some of these men and women purely on that show and get the titles off of AEW television and make it its own entity, I think it's going to be very successful because it has money and it has backing and it's going to have a place on a television network, whether it's TNT, TBS, or they go with a completely separate television station as it is. But I think it's good for wrestling because Ring of Honor is important because a lot of the stars that we see more so in WWE than AEW, a lot of them got their start there. You can really pinpoint just a couple of guys that are pure WWE grown. Right now, Seth Rollins is one of the best in the world, and he's a Ring of Honor product. Obviously Samoa Joe's over there, Cesaro is over there.
Kevin
you know,
Owens, Sami
KO.
Zayn.
Yeah. I mean, they're the two that really stick out to you. And now that it's back, I don't want them to go back to like wrestling in bingo halls. I think they're going to be a little bit more elevated than that. But the biggest distinction that they have to do is keep these people separate. If you're not going to showcase some of this talent that you got signed under the AEW banner, put them on Ring of Honor, get them exposure to television, working live with a mic, wrestling in front of a live crowd, and not always doing dark or elevation tapings where they're wrestling on YouTube. I mean, get these people on television more. Everybody needs to see more of what they got because their roster is absolutely loaded, top to bottom. I'm not going to criticize the names they got over there because it would be facetious because I've rooted for a lot of those guys in WWE. So I'm not going to, be fickle with it right now. But I would like to see them adopt one WWE thing. I know they have a lot of WWE guys on the roster. One thing I'd like to see them adopt is the draft. And if Tony Khan can make it more football and less showy like WWE does, where you have an event where it's strictly a draft and you bring everybody to like Jacksonville Stadium and like use the field or use the locker room to where you actually have two people making picks, go for it. Because to me, that would be awesome. I would tune in because then you could see Moxley get drafted to Ring of Honor if he's not the champion.
That would be cool.
You could see Adam Cole go back to Ring of Honor. You could see somebody like the Jericho Appreciation Society. You could see them get split up. Just hypothetically spitballing here, but it would just, if they can do it right, because they essentially got a football owner as the owner of their company.
Yep.
I have my issues with him, but if he can incorporate a little bit more of a competitive sport draft as opposed to a wrestling show with picks between commercial breaks, that would be honestly a leg up from what WWE does.
Yep. Hey, I hear it. I would like to see sort of the draft, especially because there is just so much talent. I think that's the biggest problem that everybody has. It's so much talent on that roster. And, everybody's a game changer, the next big thing when they get in, and then it cycles out. But nonetheless, Death Before Dishonor, we kind of already hinted at. One of the biggest things coming out of that was Claudio versus Jonathan Gresham. Not only did Claudio end up winning that match, it went on first, and the live reaction from the crowd was very shocked. So was
the people at home.
Yeah, no, it was not 100% sure what was going on until obviously I was informed by Mamba. Sort of a commentary had said it was a coin flip. I think it's pretty clear that it wasn't a coin flip. I think we know exactly what was going on because the second biggest story that came out of there was Jonathan Gresham's release. So, Matt, I'll start with you to just sort of round it back around. Thoughts on what caused Gresham to leave? Obviously, we saw some of the dirt sheet reporting. But, the bigger moment, Claudio wins his first ever world championship, and he does it in Ring of Honor of all places.
I'll touch on the Claudio win first. Obviously, they made him a big deal upon arrival, which was shocking that they stuck to it for more than just a couple weeks. They immediately put the championship title for that brand on his waist, and I'm happy for him. The only thing that I have reservations about is that he isn't standing alone in terms of being a champion of a brand and being the mouthpiece. William Regal is going to protect him beyond measure because there's not many people in the business that are better than William Regal on the mic. And even to his credit, Danielson can talk and so can Moxley. So he's not really going to have to do a whole lot of talking. He's just going to be the badass that's superhuman strength. The fans love him from multiple promotions. I think that's a good look. I think that Gresham, on the other hand, I think he has the right to feel the way he feels. The entire time from the point in time where Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor after they closed their doors after the last pay-per-view that they had. He kept that belt relevant. He defended it on multiple continents, multiple promotions, made it a relevant championship on the independent scene and amongst other companies. He carried it everywhere he went, and the first pay-per-view that he defends it under Tony Khan, he loses it. To me, that is a slap in the face in terms of, look at everything I did for you, and then the first thing you have me do is not only do you have me lose the championship the first time you defend it after the company's back up, but you put us on first. It's not like you even save that moment for the end of the night. You put us on first. And they sacrifice Gresham's character and build up to, they sacrifice his build and everything he did for shock value. So at the end of the day, it's kind of like, is this really, a good look? I think Gresham has a right to be upset. Now, to ask for your release, that's a little bit, of a stretch. But at the same time, you gotta hand it to him. I mean, he knows his worth. And I think he's going to find that he's not going to be highly sought after, because at the end of the day, he was just a very good technical wrestler. He doesn't have much substance beyond his in-ring ability.
That's so tough. He is a great wrestler, but he does have a point. Why can't he just be a great wrestler, and then that carries his character? And he has a point to that. I was shocked when the match went on first, but it's okay, right? Like, looking back on it, it's okay that the match went on first because of the main event that we got. That main event was insane. I wanted the match to go a little bit longer. I texted Lewis immediately, like, give them at least 50 of the 60 minutes for this match. Like, just let them go. And it was about 20 minutes. And that's okay, like 20 minutes, that's a solid match. Cesaro getting his first world championship. Claudio, my bad. Got to get used to it. Claudio getting his first championship. He deserves it. Everything he's been through, like, yes, I understand he isn't the best talker, and he can talk every once in a while, but that man, everyone loves him. And
everybody loves him. You're right, but at the same time, you're the champion. You've got to have mic presence.
Yeah,
and
I agree with that.
You do got to have a little bit of above average mic skills, because at the end of the day, if ROH goes into its own brand and he's still the champion, he's the man.
Yep.
And you can't. I mean, the thing is, he's not Brock Lesnar. He's not. He's not Roman Reigns. So those two can talk, though. They just don't. We all know Lesnar's fantastic on the mic when he gets to show his character and his personality.
Yes.
And Roman Reigns isn't dry on the mic like he used to be.
Nope.
But the thing is, we all have seen Cesaro for almost a decade up to this point, and we know that he can't hold his own on the mic. And look at the guys on the mic you got in Ring of Honor and in AEW. I mean, Omega, Cole, Danielson, Mox, Jericho, Ricky Starks.
Castle. Ricky
talk.
Starks. Oh, yo. We'll get to that.
But you got all these people that can talk. And that's important.
Yeah.
Because eventually it's going to be, oh, well, what does he got to say? Or there's got to be layers added to your character eventually.
Yeah.
And I just be the strong guy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's just can't what be the one. I'm going to beat your ass. And then somebody's just talking circles around him. He's like, oh, I'm going to swing you. How about that?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And you got to have a little. You got to have a little bit more substance than just that. Now the people my age and a little bit older that were Ring of Honor fans, and they have the nostalgia factor, and then they're gonna remember Cesaro from the first Ring of Honor.
Yep.
So they're gonna give him a pass for a lot of stuff. He's gonna get almost a clean pass. The nostalgia factor, the Ring of Honor championship being around his waist, and the fact that he's a fantastic technical wrestler. He can tell a story in the ring. He just can't really tell a story with his mouth. And but the newer fans that are critical of everything and want substance are gonna get tired of that quicker than you think.
Putting the title on Cesaro, though, whoever beats him for that championship, that is going to be an immediate huge boost to that person. No matter who it is, they're going to be like, wow, they beat Claudio. And then it's going to be like, wow, you're a douche. How dare you beat Claudio and take that title? And they're going to hate them for it. And it's going to be great.
Magnet.
Yes.
Yeah. The thing is, this was originally the spot where Claudio's debut was supposed to be. I believe Tony Khan said this on Busted Open Radio a little while back. It wasn't originally supposed to be in place of Danielson at Forbidden Door. So maybe there is, in a different world where he was not supposed to be a part of Blackpool Combat Club, which maybe could have been I don't know how that could have turned out, obviously. Which is going to be interesting. And on the Jonathan Gresham point, I had already told Mamba, they turned him heel. That was probably one thing he didn't really know how to handle or how to sort of do with. He's been babyface pretty much the entire time. Last time he was on AEW television for Battle of the Belts, he was all babyface. They sort of turned him heel without getting a bit of the reaction from the crowd. Had him come out and talk about how he was going to be on AEW television more. You're going to see his face more and the belt more and yada yada yada. We're going to see the belt more. We ain't going to see him as much. And then the Tully Blanchard faction that basically imploded over that week. I think was another really bad look. Yeah, who Prince Dabib or whoever the hell came out, he bought Tully Blanchard Enterprise and turned it into what are they now? The Empire, I think, is what they're gonna buy now, or whatever it is that they're the Embassy. I think that was another thing, and then kind of what Matt touched on earlier. You put him on first to basically lose his belt.
Yep.
And there probably wasn't a ton of communication before that because, like I told Mamba before, Gresham had said literally the day before, me and Tony Khan's conversations are very short, very, very short. So there must have not been a ton of communication till maybe that week of, maybe even, who knows, the day of, depending on how it falls out. Not too sure. Obviously, right. Brian Cage, Janelle, Marco Strong have all come out. Big Swole have all come out and said,
we still don't know.
They all have all these. There's some sort of a communication barrier that tends to fuck Tony Khan and some of his talents, and it seems to be a big issue when Ring of Honor was originally announced. It was supposed to be sort of Lethal Gresham Samoa Joe era. We're supposed to help carry it, and this is literally words of Tony Khan's mouth. And fast forward from Supercard of Honor, we're here now, and it's like, wow, you lost literally the foundation for what's supposed to be the future of ROH, which still doesn't quite sit right for me.
It sucks because Gresham is probably a top 15 in-ring performer in the entire world. I don't think that he's going to go there. I really don't think that they want that dynamic because of the way they push Jordan Grace. I don't think they're going to add her husband to the mix. For the simple fact that if he goes there, he's going to be expected. He's going to expect to be put into the main event picture immediately. And if she's there, actually carrying the men and the women because she fights both.
Yep.
It's gonna get stale. With Triple H taking over as head of creative and talent relations, Gresham gives me NXT vibes.
That's exactly. Immediately texted Lewis that too.
And the thing is, they if you read the dirt sheets, and it depends on who you listen to, Triple H is going to keep the theme of 2.0 with the people that they've been pushing, but he's going to kind of give it more of that throwback black and gold feel eventually. So Gresham could fit. Now, do I want them to change his name? Absolutely not. I think that was a Vince thing. I think he'll come in and get to keep his name. you can't really undo the changes that you've made already with like Alba Fire and changing Raul Mendoza's name and all that stuff. But
I didn't even know they changed his name.
Yeah, I saw that about 2 months ago.
Del Toro.
I really like Cruz Del
Sure
Toro
he's
or something like
Samoan.
that.
Yeah.
But I can see him going there, or I can see him going and working in New Japan and just working with the junior heavyweight division, and his style fits over there. He can really blend in anywhere. It's just the fact that he's now got to lick his wounds and keep up a brave face for a little bit, because he's not going back to AEW or Ring of Honor, even though he's the foundation. Him, Samoa Joe, like you said, Adam Cole, they should have been the foundation to reemerge the brand itself.
Yeah, no, before we continue, we do have a comment from FN Rock Flash. He says that a Gresham feud with Apollo Crews for the title would be an amazing feud, but this would obviously involve a Braun Breaker call-up. Of course, I agree. I do like the clash of styles. That would be pretty damn exciting.
They're similar, though.
Pretty damn exciting. They are very. They actually are very
style.
similar. Yep.
You know who I want to see?
Style. Like skills are
give me Gresham and Carmelo Hayes.
It's gonna be amazing. That's literally what I told Mamba the day he asked for his release. Yeah. But of course, there was other matches on the card. We shall continue. We had Samoa Joe and Jay Lethal, some of the veterans of the Ring of Honor promotion, duke it out for the World Television title, which ended with a Samoa Joe win. Don't know where this feud is going after this. I don't know what either guy's going to do after this. If they're sort of waiting for Ring of Honor, is Samoa Joe going to come back to AEW television? Hasn't been wrestling quite a bit since obviously winning the belt. So, Mamba, I'll start with you. Thoughts on this match as a whole, and what's next for these two pillars of AEW for literally decades?
Yes. So old. The brawl in the beginning was great. The tall guy, don't know his name.
Putnam Singh?
Yeah, him getting kicked out. I thought when he threw his jacket down, there might have been maybe some knucks in there, something to help Lethal win. I was asked who did I think was going to win this match before watching it, and I really did think Lethal was going to win and have Lethal stay on ROH with the title, and then Samoa Joe goes back to AEW, and I believe Lethal signed with AEW, so he's all elite and not strictly ROH.
Yeah,
and I believe that was the thing when Lethal
sure
got
how their
brought
contracts are working out. The only definitive sort of not AEW ROH contract I want to say at the moment is the Briscoes. I think they're
we all know
currently ROH signed, not to be sort of these tweeners that they're doing.
Yes. And that's strictly because somebody in Warner was like, no, we don't want them, even though Tony Khan is still negotiating getting ROH on TV. And if that's the case, Briscoes have that long-term contract. So they're going to end up on your TV regardless. So kind of weird.
What are you doing?
Samoa Joe.
I'm sorry.
I would like to see him mainly on ROH because he is the ROH champion, and Claudio being on ROH, maybe show up on AEW every once in a while, and same with Yuta being the ROH pure champion. I do wish that the champions would stay on their show, and I know ROH doesn't have a show yet, so they're like, let's showcase it on our show that we have now. But as soon as you get that TV deal for ROH, put them on ROH. Have Samoa Joe show up on AEW until now. It's like I told every single AEW person won at ROH. If you look at it, AEW won. Dalton Castle aside. Great. That match was great.
But he's essentially AEW now because he was at Battle of the Belts and they were only able to pull the Righteous literally last minute. I would assume Khan threw him a bag for this one-time appearance so they can drop those belts.
I was told the Righteous had Bray Wyatt theme going on with them. I thought it was hilarious. But Samoa Joe is great. I will watch Samoa Joe match even when he's 60 years old because I know he's going to be great.
And he's already sweating in bright red walking down the ramp, already dying.
Yup.
Man, I'm worried about Samoa Joe's longevity. He just seems to have like this cloud over top of him anywhere he goes. I mean, the dude got hurt filming a commercial. He it seems like we got his prime years in Ring of Honor, TNA, and the original NXT. That's where we seem like we got his prime. He should have been a WWE champion at some point. Never happened.
Great balls of fire, man.
Should he have beaten Brock? I feel like he should have.
I think he should have. That would have given him legitimacy amongst the WWE fans. But I honestly don't think Lesnar was going to go for that on anyway.
Yeah.
There's only a select few people that Lesnar lays down for. I really just want Joe to have quality of life at this point because he can't wrestle every week. I mean, and until they find a Ring of Honor TV deal, they should dedicate like Rampage to Ring of Honor just to like kind of build that brand and give them an expectancy, give the fans something to expect because at the end of the day, you know what you're getting with Dynamite. You can keep Elevation on there and hello. And I think that Ring of Honor should at least get an hour of television a week just to kind of get fans excited for their re-debut on a bigger network that's going to be in more homes. And that's just where I was at with that. I like the idea of keeping the television title on Samoa Joe because if you go back to WCW days, the television title was the title that was defended on TV every week, regardless of who it was, who held it, who did anything like that. So to me, honestly, it was a good idea because Joe will literally fight anybody.
Literally fight anybody. That should be a very interesting way, the way they plan out. Again, the way they're going to split up ROH and AEW is going to be important to see who Samoa Joe ends up feuding with in the future. What's up, man?
Samoa Joe on commentary again, please, because he was great in WWE doing that. And if you want to talk about giving the man some longevity, have him on commentary, and then every once in a while,
do Chris Jericho?
Like, I see you. I want to fight you. And then
be Chris Jericho.
Right, I'll fight you.
But Jericho's is out of pure vanity. Jericho's he has no reason to be on commentary. I don't care how much people like Jericho. He's doing it as a self-fulfilling prophecy, just to say that he did it.
He totally is. And the main event of Death Before Dishonor was a 50-minute absolute barn burner of a match. FTRs versus Briscoes, part number 2. There was some very stiff punches. There were some broken tables. There was a brawl out in the crowd.
Yep.
There was a whole lot of shit that went on to basically their second match, and I'm hoping we get a third somewhere down the line because their chemistry is absolutely unmatched.
Hey,
I
texted you. Briscoes, FTR, Young Bucks. Give me that match.
No.
See, even I'm kind of on the end on Matt's end. No. I love the Young Bucks, but they can keep working with the Lucha Bros. I think that's their best matchup. Really, because they match so well in styles. FTR and Briscoes feel like they match up more, and sort of like Usos and New Day. It sort of just feels like it's a match made in heaven. Once that bell rings, these teams are just gonna click, and it's all gonna work out no matter what. Even though I don't know how it looked like at home, but there was definitely a few spots where the Briscoes got a little sloppy, miscues here and there, not getting to their spots on time. But overall, this was an absolutely amazing match. The best match I've watched live all year. Yes, absolutely 5-star. The best match I watched all year. Like I said, I had went with my cousin that's never been to a wrestling event ever. And the moment Dak jumped
He don't
off
watch wrestling either.
He don't even watch it. The second Dak jumped off with that pile driver off the second rope, he literally stood up with an oh shit. Like he was just like, what the hell? Because he's just never seen anything like that.
Yep.
So that was a really cool moment to experience. But Mamba, how'd you feel about just the whole main event vibe? Because after we saw the world title go on first, there was only one thing that could possibly main event ROH, and it had to involve the Briscoes in it.
And they killed the main event. Even if Gresham and all that stuff didn't happen, that was the right match to go on last. 2 out of 3 falls. It kind of went how I expected. Briscoe's getting the first pin and then FTR getting the next 2. However, there was a part of me hoping it went to a time limit draw just to ensure part 3, right? There were spots in that match where I was like, oh, shit. Like that pile driver. There was a big rig where they, went off the top rope, kind of. It was insane, the stuff they were doing. And then the table spot. And probably my favorite part of the match is when it was Mark and Dax. And they just throwing punch. They just punch. Yeah, they were just punching. And it wasn't
I swear they were having a mini legit boxing match.
No, now hit me. No, they literally were just throwing punches left and right. It was great.
That
honestly, I will say this, and I don't give them, I don't give a lot of tag teams a lot of praise. FTR is the best tag team in the world right now. They are they are machines in that ring. They are better than anything WWE has right now. I don't care if they got all the titles. I think that's absolutely awesome. They are the best tag team since the Dudley Boys.
Okay.
And I love the Dudley Boys because that was my generation of tag team wrestling. Right. The Dudleys, the Hardys, Edge and Christian, that type of stuff. FTR is proving WWE wrong more and more by the week.
Embarrassing them.
And it's crazy because they never would have been booked like this ever.
Because are they proving WWE wrong or Vince wrong?
That's one and the same.
Like
still.
In WWE, they were like
one and the same right now. Vince is still WWE until you see where Hunter takes them.
Yep.
Which we will talk about. People, stay tuned.
We will. I mean, I honestly, wholeheartedly believe that FTR wouldn't have gotten this kind of booking. Like, if you think about like a tweet that Dax sent out a couple weeks ago, that a year and some change, a couple years ago, they were shaving each other's backs in a shower scene with the Usos laughing at them, and now they're literally tag team champions in every possible promotion in the world outside of the WWE banner, and they are such a throwback team. And they are like legitimate pro wrestlers, and they are bringing the brawl and the technician mat style wrestling back. And the thing is, I'm not going to use the Young Bucks as a counter because it's been well documented how I feel about the Young Bucks on the show. But they're everything that the Young Bucks are not.
No
they
flips,
don't care
just
about
fists.
Spot. I mean, that's their moniker, but at the same time, they don't rely on spots. They are organically just over so much that anything they do can be a spot without having to do, tandem super kicks or, stereo dives through the middle rope or the top rope. They are just your throwback, like late 80s, early 90s brawlers, and I love it. I love it because that's what I came up on when I was watching this stuff. And I am blown away at how good they are. They're just incredible to me. And I think that Khan putting them on last was the smartest thing he did that entire pay-per-view, because they outdid the Gresham Claudio match.
Yes.
And a lot of people were hemming and haw about a 50-minute match, but when you're thoroughly entertained, I watched that match twice this week.
Nice.
I watched that twice, and it was good, and it got better the second time because I noticed stuff the second time that I missed the first time, just nuances, and they can be tag team champions forever. Because the thing is, they're never going to go back to WWE for the simple fact that they don't care about money; they just want to wrestle. And they're going to get paid handsomely on their next contract, whether they're in Japan, Ring of Honor, AEW, or all three. They're in Mexico. It don't matter. Those dudes are the best on the planet, and it's not even close. The only people that might be in the same stratosphere are the Usos.
Yeah. Literally, these shows probably top 5 loudest pops. FTR, by far. Claudio's pop was up there. Samoa Joe got a lot of love. Roosh got a lot of love. And surprisingly, I shit you not, Willow Nightingale, the amount of love that Lowell gave Willow Nightingale was actually very surprising to me. Oogie turned to me and was like, why does everyone like her so much? I was like, I don't know how to explain it. She's like this very charming, sort of whimsical character that people just love her. She literally had one of the top 5 reactions, like fan reactions of the night.
Nice.
And she was on the pre-show.
I'll give you a little wrestling trivia tidbit. I think the reason why Samoa Joe got a little bit more of a pop is because years ago, I'm talking 6 or 7 years ago at this point, Samoa Joe defeated Finn Balor for the NXT title in that arena, or in that city, in an NXT house show. So
I actually remember that.
Yeah. So
Joe tweeted, "We don't lose in Lowell." We don't
so
lose
I think that was a nice little nod on Ring of Honor's part, letting Joe get another win in Lowell, Massachusetts, like out of all places, Lowell, Massachusetts. Just for the simple fact that it's kind of a nod to when he was arguably at the top of WWE's third brand, and he was. They crowned him champion. And to touch on FTR before we move on, the only thing I miss about FTR and WWE, the theme music. The theme music that they had in WWE, I wish they could have carried with them.
I get that.
Say yeah as a badass entrance.
I hear it. Because we're continuing on from tag teams, we're going to wrap up some Death Before Dishonor ROH. Kudos to them. We'll see what they do next. We're going to transition on to some AEW because they have announced on Wednesday their trios titles are coming. It is happening. It is inevitable.
I'm so ready.
Tony Khan has pulled the plug.
Right? Because
when
you look at the roster of AEW and the factions, it makes sense for them. It makes sense for them to have trios titles. Say like House of Black, right? You have Malachi, Brody, Buddy. I don't really see any of them taking a title from Wardlow at the time. I don't see them taking a title from Moxley or Swerve in Our Glory. And sometimes the trios, they just stay a trio, right? Like, it's more incentive, right? People want a title.
Just Freebird rule it, man. Freebird, do what the New Day did, man. Freebird rule that shit. Come on.
The FTR even tweeted, like, Punk said he'll come back if he can win the trios titles with his friends, and we're his friends. The trios title, yes, AEW has a lot of titles going right now. They do. And you said it's looking like New Japan. AEW champion, interim champion, TBS, women's tag titles, the All Atlantic, and now the trios. TNT, forgot TNT because it ain't purple and gold. I don't care about it. Just saying.
What's that stupid ass title that they have? The FTW.
FTW, yes.
FTW.
Yeah, I see that title more like the 24/7 title, just not defended crazily like the 24/7. Yeah, and like it isn't a joke, right? Like Ricky Starks actually made that title somewhat relevant. It going to Hook makes sense.
Okay, you got the Blackpool Combat Club. Yes. You got the Jericho Appreciation Society. Yes. You got the House of Black.
Daniel Garcia in 2.0. There's your trio champs right there too.
You got 4 factions. And then you got the Death Triangle.
Death Triangle. You got Dark Order, Evil Uno, and then a couple of them, Adam Cole and Red Dragon, Redragon, whatever you want to call them. And teasing it a little bit. I know we're kind of like going all crazy right now because of the titles.
That's upwards of 30
Paige and
people
Young
right
Bucks. There. It looks like they might be reconciling, and you could see Young Bucks and Paige be the champs.
What is Adam Page doing right now?
He's about to have to turn down Dark Order, and
he doesn't know if he's Dark Order or the Elite. He has no idea.
And then what happens when Omega comes back?
Yeah, I mean,
what happens when Cole comes back? Because
they come back next week.
Now. I know. I'm waiting to see what's about to happen.
It's just oversaturation, man.
It is. It is a lot of titles. I just feel
you got to put some of these factions.
Thing to do.
You got to put some of these factions on Ring of Honor because you just named 8 factions in one company.
And this is what I said to Lewis last time we were talking wrestling. Does it feel like they could go the New Japan route with their factions, where it's the factions are spread out across multiple companies, and then you have Combat Club at the top of AEW with Danielson and Mox, and then on ROH it's Yuta and Claudio, and then
that's
it's like
great approach.
Yes, and because it just feels it's going that way.
But they're the only one doing it now. If you have
Bullet Club's an Impact. Don't forget that.
But the thing is that, to me, Bullet Club is so watered down, and the thing is, if you would have asked me 3 years ago, 4 years ago, if Bullet Club would be present day what it is now, how do you not have Tama Tonga in Bullet Club? How is he out? He created it. To me, Bullet Club is all the American wrestlers that are in New Japan that were under one group. That's what it is. Now you got Japanese wrestlers in it. That wasn't the point of Bullet Club. But even though Bone Soldier's cool, I like Bone Soldier. Even though Kenta is decent, it wasn't for Japanese wrestlers. You've ruined the whole point of Bullet Club when you started letting Japanese wrestlers in the faction, and then you got them splitting up like they're the NWO across multiple promotions. When
was Kenny's fault.
When Guerrilla Destiny left Bullet Club, it defeats the purpose because them Bad Luck and
I like
somebody.
Bad Luck.
Yeah, Bad Luck is a monster, but they are Bullet Club.
Yep.
Gallows and Anderson are Bullet Club. AJ's Bullet Club. Hell, Kenny's Bullet Club.
Yeah.
I don't like that shit.
Bullet Club was the foreign heels in New Japan.
And that's what
what it was.
And they're supposed to be the heels in every promotion they go in. I think Jay White is a fantastic wrestler. He's improved dramatically the last 2 or 3 years. The dude's just got swag on television that is unmatched in Impact and in New Japan. He's got swagger of Okada as an American.
He's lighting it up in the G1.
He's New Zealand.
I mean, you know what I mean. he's a gaijin to the New Japan folks.
Yeah. Yes.
But I really, really, really don't like that they let, Kenta in and bro, if you can't do Bullet Club right, let it go. It's been almost 10 years. I mean, we're pushing, 8 years with the faction? 2014.
We forgot a faction.
Yeah, 2014.
La Faction is in AEW as well. I forgot about them. And they're up there for some of my favorite wrestlers right now.
I'm more waiting to see what and who Andrade is going to bring in along with
Dragon Lee, bro.
It's going to be
bring in Dragon Lee after that match with Roosh.
That's going to be interesting. Matt, I'm going to go back to you, man, because we got another outside of the AEW titles, the Trios titles. We have a few that me and Mamba have been talking about and monitoring for quite some time because it seems to continuously blur the lines of kayfabe, going as far as going into Comic-Con and meet and greet events. And Brody King has made it a mission to try to murder Darby Allin.
Yes.
They're scheduled to have a coffin match at some point. How do you feel about the where House of Black is going at the time, because they're Malachi, we also talked about before we went on, seems to be going somewhere with Miro. It seems like there's maybe something there. Just what is the next phase for them after this whole Death Triangle spectacle and Brody King's push to being a legitimate singles stud? He has been on New Japan Strong a couple times, had a couple amazing matches out on the Indies. It seems like AEW has sort of caught on, and he's getting a lot of love recently.
I've been following Brody King since he was with Marty Scurll.
That is a name I haven't heard in forever.
He just appeared at a wrestling show down in Puerto Rico. I've been on him for a couple years now, man. And I was kind of pissed that WWE never scooped him up before they went to this 2.0 nonsense. He's just a monster. He's not the greatest technician, but he's got enough character and brute strength to mask a lot of his. I'm not even going to criticize his wrestling technique because I'm a fucking borderline 34-year-old man with bad knees and a bad back, so I don't have really room to be criticizing anybody. But he's just not the most agile in the ring, if you want to call it that. I think that they kind of corner themselves in this booking because Darby Allin hasn't won a feud in like a year. This dude loses all the fucking time. Like, you got Sting and you still lose. Like, you're Sting with a skateboard and you're losing. And now I'm cool with the coffin match because WWE hasn't touched a coffin match in over a decade. So it's not like they're copying off of like anything the Undertaker's been doing. You're gonna have to have Brody win because to, like you said, blurring the lines of kayfabe and all that, you got to have a little bit of suspension of disbelief in order to have a good wrestling program. Darby Allin is the size that Brody King was in the third grade, so you got Brody King's just gonna whoop his ass. He even got a fucking tattoo on his knee that says "R.I.P. Darby Allin" with on a tombstone. Did you guys see that on Instagram?
I did not.
Yeah. I did. He got it tatted.
That man,
not like spray painted. Like he's just the tattoos, the House of Black. Yes. He's almost like overtaken Malachi as like the most interesting person they have in that trio.
I think. My bad. I do think Brody King will be the single star, and then Malachi and Buddy might be a tag team kind of. I really do think with the interim championship match he had, I think that was them testing the can and will he maybe be over one day if we do it right with him. And I'm with that. Brody being the singles, yes, please.
As much as this pains me to say this because I love Tommy End, Aleister Black, Malachi Black, he is just not connecting with me. And that's just me as a fan. It's tough. It's tough to see because the dude is fantastic in the ring. I'll kind of throw it back to his WWE days. The dude had the best entrance in NXT that I've ever seen. And I actually got to see that live. I went to the Go Home episode of the WrestleMania Go Home episode of SmackDown in Baltimore a couple years ago with my buddy Josh, who I'm doing the podcast with. And we sat over in the section where he was cranked up on the table. And to see that live, this is when he was teaming with Ricochet. And just to see that live and how the crowd just went crazy for him. And like to see where he's at now, like the contact and the face paint and it's just like, we know what you are, man. Just be what you are. You don't need to be like this mysterious, spooky, like
yeah.
This isn't 1995. That shit would have worked 25 years ago. Just be Aleister Black, be Malachi Black. Just kick people in the head and sit in the middle of the ring. Like that is what works to me. And I hate saying it, man, because I love him. He is like, he was one of the standard bearers that held the second phase of NXT together for all those years. Him and Andrade and Drew McIntyre. They were, and after that wave with Finn, Nakamura, KO, Sami Zayn, they filled right in. Bobby Roode, like those dudes were just. I hate being nostalgic because things change, but seeing where he was then and where he's at now, he hasn't elevated himself in AEW. You got a little bit more creative freedom to be who you want and do what you want, but at the same time, you're still just another guy.
Maybe he isn't supposed to elevate himself, but the people he brings into his house.
But Brody's gonna outgrow the house eventually. Now,
he will always remember where he came from, okay?
But I think Brody, I give it 3 years and Brody's AEW champion.
No, I could see it for sure.
They should be strapping a rocket to him. And the man can talk too.
Point. No, he had a really good promo on Wednesday. He's been talking a lot more in the promos also, instead of just standing as the silent, big, menacing guy. Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be so interesting to see. Before we wrap up on AEW talk and transition over to WWE, we have one more thing to touch on, and you can't talk about AEW without talking about the World Championship. Jon Moxley, of course, defends against Roosh in a pretty damn good match, and is now set up to feud with Jericho and the Jericho Appreciation Society. Yet again, this seems like it's going somewhere, maybe nowhere. I don't know when this is going to end. This sort of fell into a faction warfare where it's just easier to have the two bigger groups. Shouldn't call them the biggest, but two of the bigger groups in the company sort of just go at each other's throats, and now sort of pair in the champion versus the leader. Mamba, when do you think this is ever going to end, if it's ever going to end? And not to spoil anything, there is a little bit more of layers to be sewn into this story following the Rampage taping that I had seen. So they're trying.
I would want to say All Out. I really do think All Out could be the last we see of maybe Combat Club against Jericho Society. You know,
so we're getting a Stadium Stampede. Jericho is getting his Stadium Stampede anyways. That's what you're telling me.
No, I think Mox Jericho 1-on-1. That match, it's been a while, right, since they fought each other 1-on-1. And Jericho saying, "I'm gonna be the first 2-time world champion," and Mox is like, "Yo, don't disrespect me." Like, it would make sense for it to end there. Mox has to win. I'm sorry, anybody who wants Jericho to win, but Moxley better win. That's all I'm saying.
Moxley does need to win.
Kingston, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think Kingston. He isn't Combat Club. He hasn't had his match with Danielson. I think it'll get to the point where Kingston's so obsessed with trying to kill Jericho and the society because they keep screwing him over. It'll be like Combat Club's like, "That's great, dude. We're going to go this way. You can go that way. But, like, we're done with them. We beat the crap out of them. We beat them in blood and guts. Moxley just beat Jericho for the title, retaining the title. And then Kingston will just be like, well, that's great, but I still haven't got mine,
I'm tired of Kingston.
No.
Kingston sucks.
Oh, my goodness. Kingston's great. He's great.
No, because he's a giant pussy on the internet.
Jeez. That's tough.
I mean,
what were you about to say, bro?
How is he such a tough guy in the ring, but he's a gigantic vagina on social media? And the thing is, he's almost cringeworthy. I don't dislike him like I dislike the Young Bucks or anything, but I'm just like, Kingston's just got to find his way on TV. Like, he bitched about CM Punk showing up. He got beat by CM Punk, and then he still bitched. And it's like, you're literally interjecting yourself anywhere just to get to Jericho. I hope Jericho loses just so they can get that shit over with between them two. And that'll give Jericho something to do. Moxley needs to fight Punk down the line. Yep. It needs to happen. That's going to be a marquee match because the added layer of the Shield's debut and how Punk utilized them. I had to kind of go back and do my homework on that because I missed that whole thing. So I think that Moxley needs to not only face Jericho, but face Punk, but I think that Moxley should win.
I agree with you.
Moxley is the face of the company, whether they want to admit it or not, or whether they know it or not. He's the most well-known WWE to AEW transition out there. And what I think is going to be hilarious is that when when Jon Moxley wants one more payday, you know where he's going. He's going back home. He's going to. They're all going to do it.
No, Seth Rollins said next time you see them together is going to be at the Hall of Fame.
Seth Rollins is full of shit. He knows damn right well if they offer Mox $3 to $4 million a year.
That's a good transition because there is a guy who held so much creative control and people did not like. Triple H is now in control, and Dean will come to him and be like, "Yo, I'm not trying to wear a ginormous cowboy hat." But I am trying to be champion. I will do my damnedest to show I can be the champion and carry this company.
Look how they booked Cody before he got hurt.
Yep.
The pyro, the big deal, the 20-minute monologues, presenting him as a main eventer from the moment WrestleMania was their WrestleMania match kicked off. Now that Vince is gone, it's a different ball game, man. It's got to be. I guarantee you Bray Wyatt comes back.
Woo! Let's see.
Yeah.
He's going to be back tomorrow night.
I hope so.
I'm convinced he's going to be back tomorrow night.
I've been seeing a lot more people like Bray Wyatt at SummerSlam because I guess Bray Wyatt tweeted it's going to all come full circle. And like he beat Finn Balor at SummerSlam or he debuted at SummerSlam or something like that. And
it's going to happen.
Yeah,
you're going to hear hurt and heel, and then the crowd's going to go insane.
I hope so.
That's tough, but enough AEW. Let's transition on because we're already talking some WWE. So let's start moving on that way. And Matt, this is the part of the show where I'm going to give you the floor because we're going to open up with some WWE discussion. And the biggest news, obviously, coming out is we are approaching what a lot of people are saying is a new era of WWE television programming, talent development, the whole shebang. Vince McMahon is out. Stephanie McMahon is in. Nick Khan is in. Triple H is head of creative. TV 14 is supposed to be coming back, the end of the PG era. We saw a little bit of blood on Monday night. What are you thinking overall on what is next for the state of WWE?
Before I go into this segment, I know you guys are both huge basketball fans. Dwight Howard tried out for the WWE today. So we might be seeing Dwight Howard come into our televisions as a WWE superstar.
You see that man's promo?
Yeah.
That man cut a solid promo.
He wasn't that bad. I mean, playing 15 years in the NBA, you better know how to talk a little bit. But I feel like I have cautious optimism about this transition because I really don't feel like Vince is going to be completely 100% hands off until he's dead. $15 million in hush money. That was the nail in the coffin. There's much more allegations that are going to be surfacing. We all know that this is how this shit goes. A couple people are going to come forward, and then before you know it, he's going to pay out $50 million in hush money using company funds. There's an SEC and a federal investigation, So, I don't think that we're going to see the changes that everybody wants to see and how fast that they want them to kick in. Number one, you can't tear down everything Vince built in terms of what's currently on television. You might see the booking change on some people. You might see Ciampa finally stop being a lackey for Miz. Now,
I love him.
I believe Gargano comes back. I believe Sasha and Naomi come back. My obvious, prediction is Bray Wyatt returns tomorrow night against Seth. So,
Bray, really, not Gargano?
Yeah, Bray.
Okay.
I really think that Triple H is going to make some nuanced changes that people are going to notice. And people are going to want him to push his original NXT favorites, and majority of them are either mid-card or gone. I see a little bit of booking changing with Judgment Day. I think they're going to make Finn a little bit more credible.
Wait till we get to that.
Please.
It's going to take a long time because the thing is, the first order of long-term business that Hunter needs to address, you got to get one of those titles off of Roman. You gotta solidify the brand split again, and not have the Usos and Seth and Roman on both TV shows. Give them their own feel again. I believe that with Hunter being in power, I believe that Paul Heyman is going to have a lot more to say and do with the product moving forward, and I'm happy about that. I think Stephanie's going to be there more for the business side, and she's going to contribute to creative, and we know that Nick Khan is on the business side. I'm curious to see what they do with Kevin Dunn, because Kevin Dunn is an events guy. And not. Listen, hear me out on this, though. Even though we all know Kevin Dunn has this sort of awkward, unbeknown, place in the company, he knows where all the bodies are buried. He knows.
That's true.
He knows everything, man. He's been Vince's right hand from the Attitude Era to right now. So,
but you know what? That man disrespected Becky Lynch. Get him out. I don't want him anymore.
You sometimes you need to just grin and bear it to get past that, point. Maybe give him a severance package with a crazy NDA.
A swift kick in the ass.
I don't hold it personal against him for anything, really, because the dude, we all know the dude's a misogynist. That's about the beginning and end of his whole deal. He has no background in wrestling. He has no background in wrestling other than WWE, and he's just a Vince yes man. But Vince isn't there, on day to day. I want to see Hunter kind of get NXT back on point. Bring back Road Dogg. I think Road Dogg was imperative to you in order to make WWE superstars. I know I'm going to sound like an old man when I say this. You need really good minds that were WWE superstars to teach these people how to be WWE superstars, because they're sports entertainment. They're not wrestling. So they got to teach them how to work the camera angles, the crowd, how they want you to sell in WWE, how they want you to do X, Y, and Z. Road Dogg knows that. So bringing Road Dogg back would be smart. They got Angle back under a Legends deal. They got Jeff Jarrett under a Legends deal. They got Bret Hart under a Legends deal. Start utilizing these people. I know Hunter is got an incredible mind for the business itself. So I don't doubt for a second that he's going to make improvements. But just to like completely tear down storylines and angles and all this stuff, that's not going to happen. It's way too, much to break down 3 wrestling shows and essentially start from scratch. Like you're breaking the 4th wall by acknowledging that Vince doesn't run shit anymore. So then you're like, hey, we're starting over. I read some comments on YouTube and on Facebook about how they need to vacate all the championships and have tournaments to decide who the champions are. And
hey, that's some fantasy booking right there.
You just gotta ride out what Vince had, and then use SummerSlam and Survivor Series, that time period, the next couple of months, as your start over, and then build to the Rumble, and then build to
WrestleMania. Feels like it would be the reset.
WrestleMania. One person I think is going to get lost in this shuffle is going to be Austin Theory, because he was a Vince guy.
Yep.
Vince took him as a special project because when Theory's got it all, man, size, charisma, he can talk, he's a heat magnet, and he looks like Cena and moves like Orton. Seriously, if you think about Cena's debut 20 some years ago, the haircut, the mannerisms, but he's built lean and lanky like Randy Orton. They have a lot of similar movements. So, yeah, I can see why you would put the Money in the Bank briefcase on him, but don't be surprised if they take it off of him.
I think he's having a failed cash-in.
Yeah. That's what
I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they're going to do that to him.
I do, and we're going to get to that in a little bit.
Fair enough.
Oh, how about we just get to it right now real quick? Theory.
Hey.
I could see, because like if you think about it, the way he was booked in NXT with Triple H, right? He was in the Way with Johnny Gargano and them, and then he got brought up, and then that's when he's a Vince guy. And then even before he became the Vince guy, he was kind of, what is he gonna do, right? He is still young. He's like 20, 24, 25. Yeah. Like he is stupid young still for a wrestler. It's okay for him to lose the cash-in, to lose against Bobby for the U.S. title, because he has 15 plus years left to go, right? This man he's being built. We are seeing him be built from pretty much the ground up to whatever he will become.
I agree.
Orton is the youngest world champion, right? Like for the world title, not the WWE title, right? And then they even say, like, oh, that was a little bit of a mistake, putting that title on him that young. They learn from their mistakes. Don't put the title on him yet, but just allow the audience to react to him and see where we can go with him. And then eventually one day he might be able to be the champion. Like right now he's been thrusted into us, but I think he's defeated since he's won that Money in the Bank. He has not won a match, right? Isn't that what you sent me?
He was 0-6 after the tag match that just happened, which he tapped out in. Which
here's the thing about Theory, man, and I'm gonna tell you because from my perspective now, there's a considerable age gap between you guys and myself. So the stars
years, right?
So the people that I grew up watching are now the long in the tooth veterans that are still hanging around. I grew up with Edge, Lashley, AJ, to a degree. The fans can't have it both ways. And the IWC in particular can't have it both ways. You bitch that WWE doesn't build new stars, and then you literally give a new star the briefcase, which parachutes you up the company pecking order, and there's still a problem. You got to find people that are going to sustain this company in the next phase, because Edge isn't going to be around forever. AJ's on his last contract. Finn's 40.
Yeah, he's like 43.
I think he just turned 40 this year. But still, even though Finn's looks young and he's people forget that he spent years wrestling internationally.
Yep.
And he had like a 4-year run in NXT or a 3-year run in NXT. And then he went back to
Bullet
NXT.
Club.
Yep. Right. I mean, that's a lot of people forget that. Roman's not going to be around forever. Roman's mid-30s. Seth is mid-30s. He's got his own wrestling school.
Priest is up there in age too.
Edge, Orton. Yeah. So you've got to build guys like Riddle. And, they lost Big E. Big E's probably never going to wrestle again.
Don't say that.
I mean, let's just be real about it.
Yeah.
You got to build some people. And you can't rely on name value forever. AJ said he's not wrestling past this contract. He's been beat up. I remember AJ when he was in WCW. That was 20 years ago. And
I remember seeing him in TNA.
That's where I was introduced to him, yeah.
He used to wrestle in the first hour of WCW when they used to do cruiserweights in the first hour.
Yep.
He wrestled there.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to build people. And I think Theory's one to build around. You got Braun Breaker, who should be
Corbin.
up. Corbin.
I think Corbin should be one that is looked at as potentially a world champion in the next few years.
But the thing is, we said that a couple years ago.
we did, yes. We did.
We said, people have been saying that for years. He should have been a champion when he had the lone wolf gimmick, or he should have capitalized as a champion after the sad Corbin to happy Corbin.
Failed cash in.
Tough. You're looking at this roster. Sheamus is in his 40s. Drew McIntyre's pushing 40. We don't really believe Ridge Holland is going to be a big ball. I don't want to say Butch. That pisses me off every time I see him.
Can I say something about Butch real quick? The one thing that I want Triple H to do is have this man, after X amount of months, maybe just have Butch turn on Sheamus and be like, "My name is not Butch. Stop calling me Butch. I'm not Butch. My name is Pete Dunne," and he beats the hell out of Sheamus.
That's all I want.
I really want to see them. They got a couple guys down in NXT that can be game changers. I think Grayson Waller is going to be money down the line. Carmelo Hayes. Cameron Grimes needs to hurry up and get up onto the main roster. So it's not to kind of overpower and overtake the whole Austin Theory thing. He is the future. Now, you're right. They might have learned their lesson from Orton. But at the same time, we don't know of Theory having any of the same problems that Orton had maturity-wise. Right. It's not like we know Theory's a alcoholic or a womanizer or a party animal or incredibly immature, because in today's day and age with the dirt sheets and the internet and knowledge being leaked, Theory has had his accusations, but it hasn't been anything to the effect of the problems that Orton had. And you also got to realize Orton was surrounded by Hunter, Batista, and Ric Flair for all of that.
Yeah.
Yep. Literally how it is. Now, I hear it. There's a lot going on in WWE. Gonna do some Summerslam. I got all the matches here. We're gonna get a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Let me know. Is Pat McAfee gonna beat the shit out of bum ass Corbin? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
That's a thumbs up, bro.
I also think it's a thumbs up. I think it's very clear. It looks like McAfee is slated to be, I don't know, maybe one of these the big draws for these the main shows, the main pay-per-view shows. We shall see. But Matt, tell me why you're a thumbs down before we get on to the next match.
Because you can't have a commentator beating one of your established stars.
He beat Theory, and then they put the damn briefcase on him. I don't know anymore.
He beat Theory at WrestleMania, correct. But McAfee also turned around and lost to McMahon.
Yeah, that's facts.
So, you know, that's just. I think McAfee elevates the anything that he does. He is absolutely money. If he didn't have a $30 million a year deal with Spotify, he would be the next Michael Cole of WWE. He still could potentially be that and more. You can't knock Corbin down any more than you already have. He's going to get the win. It might be underhanded, but I don't got him losing. I think it's going to be Corbin coming out on top.
You know, I was very much like, I do think Corbin will win. But there's something about Pat when he gets in that ring. He's so infectious where it's like, I want you to win. Put the WWE undisputed. No, I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. But Pat, he's just. It feels as if even if Corbin loses to him, Pat can roll him up right. 1, 2, 3. Roll up is that's his weakness, you know. And then after the match, just annihilate him. He just obliterate him, and then he goes off and does whatever. I know.
The only problem I have with that is that if you're going to have him obliterate him post-match, you can have him do it during the match.
No, I hear that.
I mean, I'm just thinking of it with a logical standpoint. That's just me, though. You know, I'm not going to, go one way or another, but I do believe that Corbin wins.
I could see this as a 50-50. I'm okay with whoever.
That's fair enough.
Match.
I mean, that's
just feel
a prediction.
Yep.
I hear it. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Logan Paul, another set of attraction match, actually signing a WWE contract. It is about time that we see him on the main stage in a singles match against The Miz. Thumbs up or thumbs down. We got Logan Paul walking away a winner.
I'm going sideways with it.
There's absolutely no way that he isn't gonna get this dub.
I think this turns into a tag match. I think Ciampa's gonna get involved, and then AJ's gonna come out, and then AJ and Logan win the tag match. AJ's not on the card.
I don't think so.
AJ's not on the card. He had the conversation with Logan. I hear it.
I mean, that could be it, but I think you got to follow through with the seeds that were planted at Mania.
Yep.
With the turn after the tag match. I'll say this. Logan Paul blew me away. I don't know where these celebrities are getting the audacity to be semi-competent wrestlers, but between Bad Bunny and Logan Paul, the dude
Stephen Amell.
Yeah. Like that is just incredible to me. I think that Logan Paul is going to be legitimate. I think that once he gets a taste of this WWE success and people actually like him, once they kind of respect him as a wrestler, he's going to stop the other bullshit and he's going to be a legitimate competitor.
He's going to do exactly what The Miz did.
He could be a great heel because people love to hate that man.
But being a social media star, you got to know how to talk. And you got to know how to sell yourself. So he's already got that down. Now he's just got to understand the psychology aspect of wrestling.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to beat The Miz. I think they're going to probably have I think they're probably going to have another match at whatever the next. Yeah, at some point down the line. But
taking the Clash at the Castle,
potentially. Stop it, man. Stop that shit, Mamba.
Okay. Let's see you at Clash at the Castle. Woo!
You don't love that name? Hey, I hear it.
Yo, he's great in the ring. He like you said, he does know how to talk. Just show me he is committed, and I will get on board with him.
Yeah. No, I hear it. Another one. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Liv Morgan retains against Ronda Rousey in their first legitimate match. We're giving our girl Liv Morgan the big thumbs up. I am all aboard. I don't think that she should have done this and had her moment if they were just going to wipe it away. It literally would have been what you did with Bianca all over again a year later, and it would have been it just wouldn't make sense. She was so beyond due.
I hope she beats the hell out of Ronda.
Oh,
I don't think. I think it's going to be the opposite. I think Ronda's going to beat the hell out of her, and she's going to pull off a win. Just to maintain Ronda's legitimacy, I think it's going to be a fluke win, but it's going to be a win. I think they're going to do just enough to maintain her credibility as a champion, but she's going to get her ass kicked for a good 10 minutes.
Probably.
Could we see Ronda maybe not break the submission hold, right? And then it's like a DQ.
No,
could we see that? Would that
I don't think so.
Taint the match for Liv if it was that way?
It would. Here's the thing. If you're going to put the title back on Ronda,
please don't.
Everybody knows where it's going to go. Ashley Andrade is going to come back
and trash.
Oh, God damn.
Charlotte's going to come back and win it.
I want to see Bayley come back. I want to see Bayley at SummerSlam.
I miss seeing Bayley on TV. I want to see Naomi come back as part of the bloodline. And I want to see Bayley and Sasha get back together as best friends.
Do we bring back the tag titles?
House and Hood. At that point, you got to.
Hey.
I hear it. Another one.
Hopefully they're done right.
Bianca versus Becky. They've already had a slew of amazing matches over the last year or so. The full story seems to be coming to an end at this season, at this year's SummerSlam, I should say. Thumbs up or thumbs down, Bianca Belair retaining. Mamba, stop fucking around. There's no goddamn way they're going to take that.
25 seconds. Faster than the last year.
God, I know there's a lot of talk about, what if Bianca just beats her and, redeems it, wins in 20 seconds? I hope not. Just give me another 20-minute banger like you guys did at WrestleMania, and I'll be happy as hell.
Let me ask you a question, but for both of you guys. Do you feel like Bianca's character has developed since the win?
No.
She's still, the EST is cool and all that, but champions got to have layers like onions, and I really don't feel like she does. And I feel like that Bianca was crowned as a champion for demographic purposes more so than being over. I think that they were portraying to a certain sector of their audience, and I'm not saying that in a negative way, but you got to do what you got to do.
They do.
It's kind of like when they put the championship on Jinder Mahal.
Yep.
I like Bianca. I just want to see more from her. The skip into the ring, twirling the ponytail, the incredible feats of strength. It feels like rinse, wash, repeat.
Yes.
But at the same time, I don't want to see Becky as champion either.
I do. I would love to see Becky champion again. As much as I would love to see Becky win again, I do think Bianca is going to win this match, and it won't be a quick match like it was at SummerSlam. I think the thing that hurt Bianca more than anything is when they had her and Rhea Ripley were going to fight, and then Rhea Ripley got hurt, and then it was like Carmella thrown in here, and then Carmella's, it just feels like maybe Bianca should have just trashed Mella in a match and just destroyed her, right? Like, you were just thrown in here. I know it's I wasn't ready for you, but Bianca is built up as the EST, right? The biggest, the strongest, the fastest, the bestest, type.
Yep.
And it just Becky, she just she actually she's developed herself throughout the years, and give Bianca the time. Becky's just the best, man. She's the best.
She needs the heel turn that Bayley took, where it proved that she could do both effortlessly. That'll be when Bianca officially starts to
I can see that
resonate with everyone. Continuing onward, already spoke about our man Austin Theory. He is going into at least one match against Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Does Austin Theory get to reclaim at least his first loss? Hello. Agreed.
Nah, bro.
I'm still very shocked that Bobby won. I thought this was going to be a Bobby Lashley win. But, of course, you guys were right on the money when we did our Money in the Bank preview. You guys both said that Bobby Lashley will be winning. It makes sense
Poor
to just
theory.
keep it going. Poor theory and poor Bobby, because he was just where he was to start the year and sort of the way he was being portrayed into the Rumble, in Elimination Chamber, and then sort of since the injury, he's made the best out of everything that's been tossed his way so far. And I guess throughout the Omos saga that he had to go through, he was
Speaking of Omos, is he even on TV anymore?
His last segment was the Usos tag team match that he had against the Street Profits and R-Truth. I want to say that was the last thing he's.
I forgot R-Truth was in that match.
He was on TV, but yeah, Austin Theory doesn't look too. The night doesn't look great for him. No. At least to start.
That man's getting his ass beat.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be quick. Next.
Hey, I hear it. We got another one. Judgment Day versus the Mysterios in a no disqualification match, which only tells you and lets you know Rhea Ripley is somehow, some way gonna get her hands in on this, and that's exactly what I think. My wild prediction is Edge shows back up for this match, considering it is a new DQ match, and he should spear the shit out of Rhea Ripley, even if it's an accident. He should spear the shit out of Rhea Ripley just to nullify her out the way. Because I had already told Mamba this. I think Edge is coming to just bury the fuck out of Judgment Day. I'm sorry, Finn and Priest and everything you guys started. You can't have the faction.
Did they start it?
You can't have the faction be something when the leader and the guy that started the whole thing, the dude that wanted the. I don't know. I think Edge is essentially coming in tomorrow night, and the dismantling of Judgment Day begins. Win to the Mysterios on my part.
The only way I think Edge comes back, if it's not for this, I think that he could potentially fight Rollins. Just as kind of like because there's backstory there, but Judgment Day's got to win just to maintain any type of credibility that they have.
It's slowly thinning away.
The Mysterios don't need it at this point, even though Ray's got his 20-year anniversary and all that stuff. But Finn and Priest need this more.
Yes, I agree.
Such a weird
Mysterio
story. Feuding for the U.S. title to tag team partners at this point. Such a weird.
The dumbest.
You know what I thought about literally just the other day when I was doing this shit? Was the MVP Matt Hardy feud from SmackDown for the U.S. title, where they were rivals and then did the arm wrestling match and all those competitions,
basketball
teaming together.
shooting contest.
That's literally what I thought of without all the pre-goofy antics and stuff like that.
They're the spooky Matt Hardy MVP.
I don't know. I just not in love with it.
I think Judgment Day wins, but they are so not.
Muddied up.
Like Magic next, because I'm don't even care.
We got Slap Nuts, Jeff Jarrett, special guest refereeing the Undisputed Tag Team Championship match. Street Profits versus the Usos. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Is this the Street Profits crowning moment? We're all in agreement. Yeah. We all agree that this is the time for the Street Profits to dethrone the Usos. Matt, I'll ask you why.
Because it needs to be done.
Agreed.
They got to get these titles off of the Usos. It looks crazy in the political climate of WWE and the other companies, for that matter, with the whole Jeff Hardy thing and just other issues that the companies have going on. The fact that you not only swept the Usos' DUI issues under the rug, but you crowned them as your undisputed tag team champions, and you buried the hottest, most popular tag team in the company at their disposal. RK Bro should have never lost. I hate the fact that they look, as much as I love the Bloodline, you don't need the titles on them to make them relevant. They're still the Usos. It's still Roman Reigns. This should be the starting point for where there's dissension amongst the ranks with the Usos and Roman. If they lose The thing is, if the Street Profits lose this match, their credibility shot and then you're gonna hear the rumblings again that Montez Ford is gonna be a single star.
Yes. If Street Profits lose, I think this is where they go their separate ways.
Boom.
I don't know how they come back from it, but my question for y'all is, who gets the guitar shot?
Jay?
Lewis? I think it's going to be Sami Zayn.
Okay. I can kind of see that now.
I think Sami is probably going to come out, try to help him, and then baya right on top of his dome.
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think about the guitar.
It literally
spot.
just came to my head while we were talking about this match.
Think about that damn guitar spot. They're gonna have to get it done.
They're in Nashville.
Yep.
And Jeff Jarrett is there. A guitar spot.
Just don't let him sing.
No, let him sing.
Matt, what was your reaction when he was considered the special guest referee? Because me and Mamba for about 2 minutes were confused as hell, and then we're like, I guess, Nashville, Tennessee, country music singer.
They had to do something with him. He just re-signed with the company.
So you were just like, whatever, just let him do something.
It was so random.
It was a very random thing. I hear it. And the main event, the end-all, be-all, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar for the millionth time. This time, a last man standing match. This is it. This is supposedly the end of this.
This is the end of Brock's career.
The end of God, no, I highly doubt it. Even though I told you, if the Vince McMahon shit is career, to be believed and stuff like that, if that's said to be believed, like I said, cash in your last big payday, do the job at SummerSlam, go main event the Hall, and call it a career on your ranch. It is what it is.
Let me ask you this: with everything that came out when Vince retired last week, Lesnar left in a pissed off mood. He came back. What do you think they had to do to convince him to come back? No.
I think Vince convinced him.
No.
Yeah, Mamba said Vince made him a call.
But here's the thing.
Oh, what do you think he's winning, don't you? Bingo. Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Hold 1 second. Mamba, we got a prediction. Flash is still here. It says he thinks Montez Ford can actually get the guitar shot after being frustrated of being fucked over yet again and them not winning the title. Interesting.
He gets in Jeff Jarrett's face. Okay.
He was already mad after the Money in the Bank match. He was showing some of his feelings and stuff. But Matt, continue on with Brock Lesnar walks out of SummerSlam, the champion.
Here's Mamba. I know that you're chomping at the bit, and
I'm ready to hear.
There was a report that came out that Hunter wants to make a booking splash.
Yes.
At SummerSlam. And if he can't procure the services of Bray or Edge doesn't come back, that's it. Roman's title reign ends.
So does that mean Drew is effectively just automatically next in line? Does that just crown
and Lesnar and McIntyre will headline Clash?
And that's you talk about full circle with Bray. That's full circle for Drew and Lesnar because start of the pandemic WrestleMania. That's where Drew
long-term
get out of here, bro.
And this will give Roman a chance to take a break.
Yeah,
even though he's on a reduced schedule,
and just strip the bloodline of everything in one big go.
If you want to, in the midst of the wrestling climate, if you want to make an impact and not be predictable, you completely rip everything from the bloodline.
Can I ask you a question?
What's up?
Does Paul Heyman go back to Brock?
No.
Okay. Does he leave Does he go with Sami Zayn?
Go to Ronda Rousey.
Sami Zayn and him have weird relation.
I don't think they end the bloodline, but I think that they have him kind of see it through until they figure out what's next. Okay. But I think tomorrow night is where the bloodline's championship reign ends.
Ooh,
That's tough.
that
And honestly, you just made too much sense for Brock winning.
But the thing is, this is it with if you really want to show that Vince is not in charge anymore, this is what you got to do. It might be drastic, and it's changing the title's hands without a total reset.
Yep.
Even if you give Montez and Angelo a 2-month reign until we hit Survivor Series.
Yeah.
And then you could potentially set up a story where Lesnar retains at the Clash of the Castle. And Lesnar and the Street Profits wrestle in a Survivor Series match for all the gold again.
I don't like all the sense you just made with Brock winning. I'm gonna be honest.
So does that mean that at some point Drew will get presumably the Universal Champion if they decide to split? Does that mean Seth would be due to get the WWE Championship at the Rumble? So then we lead the Cody Seth WrestleMania charge in full swing.
And Seth wins that match.
God no. Cody Rhodes
I'm still gonna go on record
headlining a main event night 1 or 2 as WWE champion is exactly what they are loading for.
The crowd will go crazy.
That is exactly
Cody's gonna come back and win the Rumble. Let's just get that out of the way. I'm going on record right now at the end of July. He's gonna be the Rumble winner. So when we
agree with you.
So when we do the show in 5 months,
we pick someone different.
Yeah, but I think that Hunter's going to get an internal reset. They made Brock come back for something. I know Brock is all about his money, but he's not protected if Vince isn't there. So he probably needed a guarantee of some type of non-monetary protection. Because
fine, fuck it, I'll make you champ for a month. Just come back already, goddammit.
You're gonna lose to Drew again, but you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh man, that is going to do it
Austin Theory
for RGTP. Almost 100 minutes of poured out wrestling from AEW to ROH to WWE. Shout out to effing Raw Flash down in the comments contributing to the show. Appreciate you for tuning in. If you enjoyed, make sure to be back here next Friday. We do wrestling every Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. If you are interested in basketball or football, we are also live every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. No problem. Oh, we got more coming. My man's not done yet. He said he could see Seth taking care under his wing, put him into position. Oh.
Gotta get him on the show, man.
The
Monday Night Messiah with Buddy Murphy working on his little henchman minion, sort of screws over Theory. And
could you imagine though? Seth takes Theory under his wing and is like, "Yo, this is how you do it." He keeps the money in the bank the entire time. Seth wins, and then he cashes in on Seth. That'd be.
Hey, there's a lot that can be done. That briefcase is going to be wild. But like I said, tune in on Wednesday when we are back live. We're going to be talking about head coaches that are going to be feeling some pressure in the NFL. I'm talking Mike McCarthy, Riverboat, Ron Rivera. It's about time to perform. I'm looking at you, Cliff Kingsbury, because the shit y'all got going on.
Back. So Mike McCarthy, your job is done.
All that and more on Wednesday as we figure out all the saga that continues, especially in the NBA. Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, Donovan Mitchell. My Celtics might make a splash play. I don't know. That's going to do it for us. Matt, before we go, let the folks know where to find you. Your newest project, plug that right back in here towards the end, man, and let the folks know, man.
If you guys are watching, you can, hit me on my Twitter and Instagram handle at BWATB Podcast. I will be starting Flock the North podcast brought to you by Stadium Rant next week. We will be diving right into the NFL training camp of the Baltimore Ravens. My boy Lamar is looking fantastic. Talk about some camp gems and all that stuff. I will be having you boys on for an episode of Flock the North when we play, our respective teams battled it out. I don't know if we play the Saints this year,
Yeah,
Mamba.
I don't think we do.
I don't think we
might,
do.
Though.
But hey, you're still more than welcome. So, Lewis, I know we're gonna be battling it out on Raven and Zap. I'm excited to see what Brittany's got going on for us, man.
Yep. No, me too. I got to check out her recording that she had sent so I can figure out exactly what's going on. I haven't been quite wrapped up to that. But Mamba, let the folks know what they got to do, man.
Like, comment, share, subscribe, notifications on. It's very simple.
Have a good one, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.